Thanks for joining us on this Friday. I'm Nicole Karkic alongside Jaclyn Whittal for this Friday and for Chris Murphy today. And top stories we're following. We've got a state of emergency to talk about in southwestern Ontario.
Very serious situation that unfolded on our Thursday in Windsor. And we'll also have a chat with Mark Robinson, who's live there, as well as we'll get the update as far as how much rain has fallen and how much more is on the way. Plus, we're talking about Matthew becoming a major hurricane soon.
Very quickly too at that. Let's head to what it looks like in Windsor.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mark. I do know that area quite well. It's actually where I grew up in Amherstburg, Ontario, and there are lots of ditches. It's surprisingly how quickly we can get that water to flow where it needs to go, especially storm drains are looked after and that sort of thing. But, it wasn't the only spot that was getting flooding. We were talking a lot about flooding stateside as well.
That's right. That number 3 video takes us to North Carolina.
Yeah, this area got upwards to about 8 inches of rain. That's over 300 millimeters of rain. Rayford, North Carolina. Number 2 video on this Friday. Well, let's take you to Tecumseh, exactly where Mark was in the peak of the event, kayaking down your street. Wow. Sometimes it's the only option, Nicole.
Oh my goodness, up to 200 millimeters of rain since Wednesday in that area, and then floodwater travel. This is in Windsor, where they picked up 80 millimeters was recorded at the airport.
Right.
On average, for the entire month of September, they usually get 93 millimeters of rain.
Is that right?
So about a month worth of rain in 24 hours. So our poll question today, have you ever experienced a flood in your home, and how did you survive?
Not an easy thing to go through for sure. We're also talking about Hurricane Matthew, which is expected to become a Category 3 storm as it potentially makes a landfall in Jamaica or maybe eastern Cuba. We'll be watching that closely.
All right, stay with us for your local forecast, plus science behind flooding in 3 minutes from right now, and then we'll show your photos that you sent us here at the Weather Network.
The most costly natural disasters right here in Canada is flash flooding in terms of property damage. And the reason it's so serious is because it can occur in any region, in the countryside or the city, and virtually at any time of the year. But it really depends on how much rainfall you've had lately in your neighborhood. That determines the saturation of the top layer on the ground. Again, flash flooding, so serious because it can happen just like that. Here's what we mean. The heavy rain caused by thunderstorms or warm, moist air rising rapidly into our atmosphere can produce flash floods. We're talking about 30 to 40 millimeters of rain in a very short period of time. Look what happens. That amount of rain could equal to 1 meter of water depending on the topography in your neighborhood. So here are a couple of tips to keep you safe. Firstly, stay away from creeks as water levels could rise very quickly. And when you're driving, pay attention to the barricades. You never know how deep that water actually is.
Happy Friday, Nicole Karkic and Jaclyn Whittal joining you this morning. And one of our top stories we're following is a state of emergency declared yesterday in southwestern Ontario.
Yeah, a big story that really broke yesterday morning. We were here at the Weather Network and we were hearing, cars getting caught in some floodwaters. It happens fast. It's called flash flooding. And geez, how much did we get in Tecumseh?
In Tecumseh, it was almost 200 millimeters of rain since Wednesday. And guess what? There is more coming. We've got Mark Robinson live on location in the area. Plus, you'll give us an update on Matthew, which has become a hurricane in the Atlantic Basin. But here's Jaclyn with our top videos.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. Yeah, that pesky upper level low. They're not the only ones seeing the rain in Ontario, but also stateside. Let's take you to our the first video, our top 3 video here. This was in Rayford, North Carolina, where this upper level low brought them upwards to about 8 inches of rainfall, washed out roadways. Number 2, well, what is it? When you get lemons, you make lemonade. That's the saying. Well, when you have flooding, let's take the kayak out and go for a little venture down the road.
Wow. It's always crazy when you see things like this, but that's someone's road.
Unbelievable.
Just try and imagine that. Well, that's probably a better idea than trying to do what this next video is showing us. Floodwater travel. Those cars could lose control of their vehicles. It could be a very dangerous situation.
Easily you can have, your car short out when you see floodwater like that. Plus, you don't know what's underneath the water, Nicole. That's why we say turn around, don't drown. We want to know from you, have you ever experienced a flood in your home? And how did you make it through? How did you survive that? It's not easy to do, obviously, to rebuild. And even if it's just carpet and drywall and things,
we
it's
had
a
that
pain.
issue
Did
growing
you?
up. Our basement would always flood.
Right.
And it eventually got completely ruined. Insurance claims, the whole bit.
Yeah.
Matthew, what's the update there, Jaclyn?
Well, we're definitely going to be talking about major flash flooding, especially as we look ahead to possible landfall as a Category 3 storm in Jamaica, maybe eastern Cuba. Right now it's Category 2, Nicole.
Yeah, and it could intensify to a Category 3 fairly quickly through tomorrow. Coming up, take a look at your weekend in your local forecast. All right, we got Jaclyn Whittal joining us this morning with exciting news on what is premiering this Sunday.
That's right. As a fellow storm hunter, I'm really excited to mention that we're launching season 2. We have episodes that feature Mark Robinson being lowered into a volcano this season, highlights from our Tornado Alley trip in May, and our premiere episode, The Fires of Fort McMurray. It's going to be a great one. Here's a sneak peek.
Thanks for joining us this morning. It is Friday. Meteorologist Nicole Karkic, meteorologist Jaclyn Whittal here today.
Happy Friday. Great to be here.
Thanks for being with us. Top stories we're following. This is a big one. A state of emergency declared in southwestern Ontario yesterday.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to bring you the latest on that. We have a moment here. Actually, there he is, Mark Robinson, my chase partner. You know, we have season 2, of course, Storm Hunters being launched this Sunday. We're really excited about that. Mark, one of those episodes, of course, South Carolina flooding. This is about a third of what we saw in terms of rainfall there. How is this, measuring out to you? I mean, is it really bad? Is it draining away?
I'm meteorologist Nicole Karkic alongside meteorologist Jaclyn Whittal for this Friday, September 30th, last day of the month, and we've got a lot to cover in the next 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
Exactly. Lots to talk about. State of emergency down in the Windsor and Tecumseh area, which happens to be my hometown. That's where I grew up. I saw flooding when I grew up there, but certainly a big flooding event over the last 24 hours. It unfolded yesterday morning.
Yep.
What was it, 80 some odd millimeters for Windsor?
In Windsor specifically, but Tecumseh got closer to 200 millimeters of rain this week with more coming. We're live on location in that area now, but right behind it, there's certainly more moisture there that we're following. Here's Jaclyn with our top videos.
Oh, Nicole, yeah, it's cottage closing season. It's pool closing season. It's the rainy time of year. It's hard to do those types of tasks in this kind of weather. We're not the only ones that got the rain. Let's go to our top 3 videos. Number 3 takes us down south in the mid-Atlantic coast where we had roadways completely washed out. And this one, boy, that's pretty bad there. And then, we take it to the Canadian side of the border. Of course, when you get lemons, you make lemonade. When you have a flood, sometimes the only way you can make the best of the situation is by jumping in a kayak.
Wow.
True story. In Tecumseh, probably to get, to somewhere else, maybe help a neighbor out, that kind of thing. It's the only way to get around.
Yeah, and that's not a river.
No.
That's the road covered by water.
Unbelievable.
And number 1, floodwater travel. So using a kayak better than staying in your car and driving through this.
Yeah, that's a great point because you don't know what's underneath. You're going through an intersection, you think, oh, this isn't bad, 6 inches of rain or, a couple 100 millimeters of rain. You might seem like you can make it through, but you can't because you don't know what's under there. So we want to know, have you ever actually experienced a flood? If you did, how did you make it out? Did you lose everything? Did you just lose a few items? We'd love to hear from you.
That was our poll question on Twitter, so we're continuing to put up your thoughts on air through our morning show into later today. Coming up, your local forecast followed by Force of Nature. Happy Friday. Glad you could join us. I'm meteorologist Nicole Karkic.
And I'm meteorologist Jaclyn Whittal. Happy Friday, Nicole.
All right, top stories we're following. A state of emergency was declared yesterday in southwestern Ontario due to flooding.
Yeah, this one hit home for me, literally, because it is my hometown. We're going to get an update from Mark Robinson in just a second. We have live on location, plus we'll talk about, what could be a hurricane. It seems like, Mark, you and I are always planning our next chase. We maybe could be chasing this hurricane, Matthew. But tell us a little bit about what you're up to this morning and some of the improvements you've seen.
More rain where we certainly don't need it. Here's our top videos with Jaclyn.
Thanks, Nicole. We're not the only ones seeing the rain. We'll take you down to the south where, it would probably seem a bit more indicative of a hurricane where you get these multiple days of rainfall washing out roads in Rayford, North Carolina. That's just one example down there. They've had a lot of widespread rain, even right across from Windsor, of course, in Detroit.
That's right. And number 2, kayaking down your street. That's what people were doing in Tecumseh, where they have seen up to 200 millimeters of rain since Wednesday.
And it still continues to fall. And number 1 today, we will go right to Windsor, which not only were they affected by a tornado this summer season, but into the fall, a flooding event. Yeah, up to about 82, 83 millimeters of rain. Have you ever had a flood in the area you live in? That's our poll question of the day. We want to hear from you. Tell us about it. Did you survive? What did you have to do? Did you go with your insurance claim? You said you had this happening when you were growing up.
All the time we were growing up, and then recently the home that I grew up in, where my mom still lives, the basement got completely flooded with the floods in Toronto a couple of summers ago.
Yeah, remember that.
Completely ripped up.
Okay, so let's hope we're not talking about more flooding as this tropical system not only moves through St. Lucia by Wednesday, or this was a couple days ago on Wednesday, but it's going to continue to track through the Caribbean, intensify to now a major hurricane. Nicole, that means a Cat 3 or more.
That's right. Through to tomorrow, it's expected to get up to that Category 3 status and then make this track right here towards Cuba. We'll see what happens as it gets close to parts of the U.S., but right now, take time to look at your local forecast. It'll look at your weekend. It's Friday, September 30th, the last day of the month. I'm meteorologist Nicole Karkic alongside meteorologist Jaclyn Whittal for today.
Yeah, TGIF. We always say that, right? We're happy it's the weekend. You know what, though? For some folks, it started off as a rough weekend, and that all began yesterday in Windsor. State of emergency. A lot of cleanup happening this weekend down there.
That's right, and Tecumseh, too, included in that. We've been live on location in that area. And kind of that drizzly rain. I was in the Greater Toronto region yesterday, and it was the type of weather where you didn't necessarily need an umbrella, but it was certainly a good idea to have it. Here's Jaclyn now with our top videos.
Thanks, Nicole. Yeah, I totally know what you mean with it. It's kind of drizzle, overcast, kind of fall-like, really. But, you know, this was really caused by thunderstorms, which we see a lot more of in the summer. And this is down in the south. This is North Carolina along the mid-Atlantic coast. Same storm, same stalled out upper level low, washed out roads there. And then back here at home, of course, we know, you know, Tecumseh, what was it, almost 200 millimeters of rain?
Since Wednesday.
This was what it looked like after that, Nicole.
So that is more rain than Tecumseh or Windsor would generally see in the entire month of September. And you could hear the audio there say, someone's kayaking. That's right. Probably safer to do that than what people were doing in our #1 video, which is floodwater travel.
Yeah.
You made such an excellent point of you don't know what is under that road.
You don't. You think you're okay. Oh, I can make it. I've seen people drive right through and they make it. I've also seen people drop right off into, you know, a roadway that's completely washed away. You don't know.
Exactly, or a big hole.
Or a big hole, exactly. So have you ever seen flooding in your area? I bet you have. We want to hear about it. Tell us how you got through the situation with your family. It's not easy to go through that kind of thing. And then, of course, we have a hurricane, Nicole.
That's right. Matthew strengthened to a Category 2. It will eventually, on its current track, get to a Category 3.
That's right. Current wind speed is about 170 kilometers an hour. Strong storm. Cat 2, as Nicole mentioned. It is going to take this ever-important track northward. Right now it's going westward. It's going to go north up to Jamaica, eastern Cuba. Oh, I think this might end badly.
And behind Matthew, the next storm would be named Nicole. Coming up, your local forecast. So we'll get you to the #3 spot right now, and this one goes stateside. Roads washed away in Carolina.
Yeah, I'll take this one because I do a lot of U.S. weather here at the Weather Network. This was the same upper level low that brought the rain to Windsor. We're going to get there in a second, but look what it did to the roads in Rayford, North Carolina. That is a dangerous situation right there, Nicole.
Scary stuff.
Yeah.
So #2, kayaking down your street. And we see this all the time when big flooding happens. That is not a river. That is the street down someone's neighborhood.
I know.
It's completely covered. 200 millimeters of rain since Wednesday.
Impressive amounts. But, you know, you see those videos, a lot of people like laugh. It's like, oh my gosh, they're kayaking. No, sometimes you need to do that to actually get over to your neighbors to give them a hand. #1, we'll go right to Windsor. This is my hometown, by the way. This, not a good idea, folks. I know that everybody's got a place to go, but next time, turn around, don't drown. You just never know how deep that water can be.
Yeah, or if there's a hole in the road.
Right.
Pretty scary stuff. Windsor, Tecumseh, a state of emergency was declared this week because of the flooding rains, and unfortunately, more rain in the forecast as we head into the weekend.
Lots of stuff coming up, including a preview of what's happening this Sunday when we launch our season premiere of Storm Hunters.
Yeah, as a fellow storm hunter, we're really excited to launch season 2 here at the Weather Network. We highlight Mark being lowered into a volcano with fellow chaser George Karunas. Also, our highlights from Tornado Alley and our premiere episode, The Fires of Fort McMurray. Here's a sneak peek.
It's just unbelievable.